Greatest game ever. It's gonna be the greatest game ever when Leon shows up. I mean, we all want him. Resident Evil 8 could have been better if Leon was in it. And I didn't even play Resident Evil 8. But I just know Leon's better than Chris. You know, that's a fact. I think everyone and their mama knows. Okay. So, since I'm starting so late, because I had real life stuff happen. It's a good thing. Because I only have to do the DLC left. What's up, Yans? Yes, it's a good thing I only have the DLC left to do in Dark Souls for this playthrough. Because, I don't know, I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to, I guess, play like, I don't know. I don't know. Part of me wants to just like do PvP, but I might have to just like finish up the PvE first. But I have so many souls. How many levels up can I get? You know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll go do the PvE. Oh, whoops. I have a Firekeeper soul, right? Why do I have a Firekeeper soul? Oh yeah, because I killed What's-Her-Face. What's-Her-Face? The ugly one! So we'll do all the PvE. And then we will spend the rest of our time invading. Once we finish the DLC. Which, honestly, it's not going to be a problem at all. This weapon damage is cracked. Like, doing 380 damage with a weapon that is super fast. Like, I could easily just buff this. But if I use like charcoal pine resin, I would probably like shred Sanctuary Guardian, Manus. I'd destroy them all real fast. Alright, but yeah, we'll make our way to the DLC. I think I want a second opinion. No, that's Leon for you. I see some people comment about how, like, how does this stand up in the lore and the time, the timeline? Like, is this the remake Leon or the original timeline Leon for Resident Evil? Not knowing that Capcom themselves just considers them the same. Like, according to Capcom, the remake and the original games, they're the same. Oh sure, stuff doesn't really time up correctly, but you know what, they don't care. Can I poise through any of this? Oh yeah, I can. Oh, I rolled two. I rolled too early. Too easy. This is actually insane damage. I don't know, is this better than hand axe? We'll have to do the numbers. We're gonna have to do the numbers later. Like, is this better or worse than hand axe? Can't believe that thing hit me. Oh, the one thing hit me. He actually stun locked me. Alright. No, I don't really need grass or anything. At least I don't need to buy it. Alright, let's see how much damage we can do. Hey, look, it's the guy from Elden Ring Night Rain. Alright, I'll heal. Uh-oh. Oh, it doesn't even matter. He's almost dead. Oh. No biggie. Let's hope I do not get invaded. Surely no one will invade me, right? No one will invade me, right? Whew, okay. Did not get invaded. Not two-handing these people. Or one-shotting these guys. These guys chasing me still? Yeesh. What's up, Cam? I'm just gonna let Chester Thomas chase me. Pragmata is cool. It's Capcom. It's got the magic Capcom touch. Hasn't that game been in development for like 5 years or something? I swear it's so good. So good. It sounds like Teen Girl Squad. So good. So good. You know what I saw? I saw the Resident Evil 9 trailer. I saw the Resident Evil 9 trailer again. I watched it again this, like right before playing this. And I was like, oh, Leon, he's so funny. He says, I think I need a second opinion. Oh, Leon, you're so funny. He every time he hits it out of the park. He hits it out of the park every time. Everything he says is really funny. He never has a line that isn't funny. So you hack robots with the girl and make them weak so you can shoot them with the dude. It works really smoothly, like hacking and then shooting. Yeah, that's what I saw. Oh, what's his name? Incredius, the guy who speedruns a lot of horror games. And he was playing Pragmata at the. Yeah, there's like a booth. I didn't know Darkchester actually returned home. I never actually done where he just returns home. But yes, he was playing Pragmata at a like a thing, I guess, like a showing, like a booth, a convention or something. And he was playing it like a few months ago, I want to say. And that's kind of what I saw. I'm pretty sure what he played is the same thing as the demo. Yeah, where they let people play them. I might die. No. Did not die. But I was talking to someone else about it. They said Pragmata is pretty good too. But oh, I was also talking. I was mentioning this earlier about how you know, they were talking about the Leon, about like how is this Leon? Like, is he the original timeline Leon or is he the remake Leon? They don't know that Capcom basically considers the same, the remake and the original to be the same timeline, you know. And people will be like, oh no, but things don't happen in the original that they do in the remake, and it's like, they don't care. Capcom doesn't care. To Capcom, it's the same thing. Also, it's a new game. It's very performative. It runs really well. Well, that's good. You need games that run good. We love games that run well. They should have Mana showed up in Night Rain. They should have Mana show up in Night Rain. I would have been like, ooh. I've never seen him do like the phase 2's attack stop. I guess RE engine, so it runs on a small area, so it seems to be optimized. Yeah, I think that was the problem with Dragon's Dogma. It was trying to be an open world game, and like, well, I see a lot of stuff people complain about Dragon's Dogma 2, about how it's like unoptimized, and I think it's because like it's an open world game, and the RE engine does not handle open world games very well. So when he surrounds you with orbs, you should run to the center. Basically, yeah. There's like 3 different moves basically. When he and every time he does an orb, he does a little different thing with the staff. You can kind of tell if you're like super serious and paying attention. I did on my level 1 run where I did notice that like every different orb attack that he does has a different staff animation. So you can kind of tell if you're looking at his staff before he casts it. But the one where like there's where it creates like a little cone, that's the one where you run towards him. You run right towards him, and that way you'll be safe from the orbs. The one where he like shoots it up in the sky, you just run away. And then the shotgun one's actually the hardest one. The blast, that one's kind of the hardest one to actually deal with. But it's still possible. You just kind of gotta like dodge it. You gotta like stay mid-range basically. And that way you won't get hit. But Monster Hunter Wilds. I also saw Monster Hunter Wilds get like apparently they're gonna update Monster Hunter so that it's better optimized. That's really nifty. I never realized that you just get hit and eat the humanity afterwards. Yeah, humanity's so good in this game. Humanity, the OG life gem for Dark Souls, right? Those who know, humanity's the real life gem for the series. You get hit, just eat humanity. That dog fell. Yeah, Capcom does not care about the timeline. They don't. It's funny that people seem to care. Like, y'all, you guys cannot care that much about the timeline when the developers and the creators don't. That's why I told you one time when we streamed, like, man, Capcom games are, like, written. You were talking about how, like, in Resident Evil 1, like, they kill What's-His-Face. Wesker kills What's-His-Face when you were playing the OG game. You were playing 1, the original 1. And, like, they kill What's-His-Face right before, with Jill and Barry, like, right before Wesker reveals that he's the bad guy, like, 10 minutes later. What was the point? Oh. It made for a cool scene though, right? Yeah, Enrico, like they killed Enrico. Oh no. Who killed Enrico? Oh, it was Wesker. He literally did it just to tell us that he's the bad guy, not 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later. But it was cool, and that's how Capcom operates for every Resident Evil game. Pretty much every game, I think. Pretty much every Capcom game pretty much operates the same way. Like, as far as I can tell, they're the same. Like if it's cool, Capcom's gonna do. Like I'm trying to think of all the Capcom games. Well, you know, the one Capcom game that probably is smart, but I haven't played it, is Ghost Trick. I would play Ghost Trick. And you know why? You know why it's probably the only smart Capcom game? It's because it never got a sequel. Ghost Trick never got a sequel. Right? They got like a remaster, that was it. Capcom remasters everything though, let's be real. Mikami said Resident Evil was gonna be the first person he saw alone in the dark. Isn't that kind of cool? Wait. Mikami said Resident Evil was gonna be. Oh, he saw first person until he saw Alone in the Dark. That is cool. You know, Alone in the Dark is cool. I can see why. Like those, he saw Alone in the Dark. I was like, oh yeah, the third person camera angles. That's kind of cool. I watched somebody play Alone in the Dark. I saw a YouTube playthrough of Alone in the Dark. It seemed cool. Honestly, it was very influential, right? It made Mikami basically play Resident Evil, make it a totally different game. Right? Lost Planet is pretty dumb too. Yeah, I played some of Lost Planet 2. I rented it back in the day. It's like, this game's kind of dumb. Dead Rising games are really dumb. Dead Rising 1, I mean, Dead Rising 1 tries to be like, you know, deep with the hidden meaning behind Dead Rising 1. But like, Dead Rising 2 is really dumb. Dead Rising 3 is also really dumb. Dead Rising 4 is dumb because they try to bring Frank West back with none of the sauce. Oh, that hit me still. So yeah. They're all dumb games. Ace Attorney games, those probably are kind of smart. And Professor Layton. I guess it's the puzzle games. The puzzle games are the only Capcom games that aren't dumb. Lost Planet 2 is so different from the first one. Oh, I bet people hated that. I bet people hated that they're so different. Okay. You know, I just realized we actually never did do Four Kings. Here I was thinking, oh, we got the DLC. No, we still gotta do Four Kings. They made a character made Mega Man, yo. Alright. Well, we did that. We did the whole DLC in 27 minutes. Less than 27 minutes. We did it in 30 minutes. Okay, so I guess Four Kings. Not having to do Four Kings early is different. I don't have to like fight for the orb. I don't have to like rush to get the orb. The orb. He's a man and he's Mega. Hey, what more can you need, right? So yeah, pretty much I think the only smart Capcom games are probably the puzzle games. Like Professor Layton, Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and Ghost Trick. That's like it. Like some of the games all have like moments of like smart personalization. Like Devil May Cry 5 has like a lot of characterization, but like it's really subtle. and then you've got the entire rest of the other part of the game that is completely dumb. So like, you know, that's basically how the games exist. Like, oh yeah, there is some smart stuff going on in the games, followed by extremely dumb stuff. So it's 50-50, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna buff up for this fight. I'm about to buff. I'm a buff for this one. Like Leon, you like Leon, but it's just sad that like Claire and Jill haven't been made game in 30 years. It's not fair. I think there is smart stuff under the surface rim, but it's coded Corey. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's some smart stuff in these games, but there's a lot of dumb stuff too. So kind of, there's a lot more dumb stuff than smart stuff. That's for sure. All right. We killed the 4 king before the next one showed up. Yeah, I don't think Claire's ever coming back. At least she's not getting her own game, right? Like the only consolation would be if Leon dies in 9. He's not dying in 9. Leon's gonna stay alive forever. He is never dying. Capcom would never let him die. They would never let their golden boy die. They would never let the most popular character die. They'll let Barry die. They'll let Barry die. They ain't letting Leon die. Oh shit, we killed 3 kings. The 3 kings of the 4 kings. Ooh, a good achievement. Defeat the 4 kings, inheritors of souls. They let Pierce die. Well, Pierce was a 1 game guy, you know. He was a 1 game. That was a 1 game guy, you know. I think there's, you know, that's different. I get more benefit from leveling strength than I do dex at this point. Alright. Okay, we're gonna do invasions. We're gonna invade for like a couple, like 20-30 more minutes. 20 minutes maybe? And then, I don't know, maybe there's a couple games I want to play. I did not download Pragmata, so we're not playing Pragmata. I don't know. Looking at my Steam. Let me look at my Steam. What games could I play? Ooh. I don't have anything that I wouldn't start brand new. Like everything I would play is like brand new. Unless I like play Dark Souls 2. I don't know. Download Pragmata, meta. How long is the demo? Is it long? Hold on. I think my controller. I don't know what's going on. My controller is not. Okay. There you go. It's probably like an hour or so. No, I could play another game. Another demo. I downloaded a demo of Queen's Domain. So maybe I could play that. I will play Pragmata. Backstab. Tomahawk. That's my new game. This is my new game. Tomahawk. Tomahawk. Pierce was the only person in 6 that died. Yeah. No, he was the only person who died. Jake never coming back. Jake's never coming back. Hannah, what's her name? What's her face? She's never dying. Or she's never coming back. You know, with the RAM prices going crazy, why don't people just buy DDR4? I think that's also affected. Is that not? Helena, yeah, Helena. I said Hannah. Helena. Nah, we only played that campaign for Leon. Why doesn't Capcom just give what the people want? Like, put Chris... Well, I guess they did with Death Island. I gotta watch Death Island. My wife she went to a book sale at a library. And she got a copy... I bought a DVD for $1 of the Infinite Darkness movie series. The one with... Claire and Leon in. The one that takes place, I think, like... I don't know, when does that take place? Like, I think it takes place, like, somewhere after, like, 4... Okay, well, he's dead. And he's dead. The scimitar go crazy. R1. GG. It's not as much as like you can get 32 before 180. Which is still pretty high, but not as bad. That's like, yeah, sure, it's not as bad, but like we're let's not forget the real problem that's going on is that AI companies are destroying everything, and apparently they're inadvertently delaying Half-Life 3. Apparently Half-Life 3 is in development, and that they want it to be like a released with the Steam machine, you know. But because RAM is going crazy, they're like Valve is like, you know, they're having problems with like what they should do with the Steam machine. Oh shit. I think he died. Or he disconnected. One of them. Oh no. recording. I wasn't recording me owning that epic clip. Oh no, I'm gonna have to download the entire VOD for the highlight reel for that one invasion. Or those two invasions, I guess. Because I didn't record those two on OBS. No. Steam Machine can't do 120 Hz 4K because it's Linux, and the drivers on Linux don't fully support HDMI 2 or what. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what I found out on my 4K monitor. My 4K monitor can do 160 Hz. Shark Bear. Bye-bye. But yeah, that's what I found is that apparently HDMI company is evil. And that HDMI 2.1 is like they won't let people except people they let use 100 like I guess it's over 120 hertz or something over HDMI 2.1. But you can get around it by using DisplayPort, which is better, but doesn't support audio, so you need to have a dedicated audio of your own, whatever. Yeah. So, my HDMI, that's what I found out. I had my 4K monitor. Oh look, it's a Vagrant. That's like I've seen that Vagrant right there a couple of times. So I plugged in an HDMI port onto my monitor, and it did not support 100 and I think 160 hertz. It could only do like 120, I think, or 140. But it couldn't do what was advertised on the box from the thing. So, and that's when I learned that HDMI company basically only lets people that they co-sign to use certain use the full HDMI like kit basically, and let them do like I think something integer like non odd integers of refresh rates basically. It's all closed source and stuff for money. Exactly. So you can't do it on Linux. So like basically HDMI has to like support the stuff. And if they don't support you, then you can't actually use it. So like Linux, pretty much all open source Linux stuff is not able to be used for HDMI cord. So I had to, since I'm running Linux, I had to use a DisplayPort. So yeah, kind of sucks. On Windows though, So since I dual boot with Windows, when I like play Fortnite or Tarkov on Windows, I can use my HDMI port on the monitor and get 160 hertz. So what I just did is I just used DisplayPort. The monitor I have has like HDMI and DisplayPort. So I just use DisplayPort on when I'm playing. I just use DisplayPort now, which is I guess better. But yeah, it's kind of bad that HDMI company is evil and they basically don't let you use HDMI unless it's like for money, unless you pay them and stuff. Oh my god, I'm about to get owned. Oh no. I was about to get owned by Wrath of the Gods. Oh wait. Oh, oh no. So yeah, when I just use DisplayPort, and then my other monitor, I have a second monitor. That one's using HDMI because my computer doesn't have two ports. It only has a DisplayPort and HDMI. So my one monitor, my 4K monitor is running DisplayPort, and then my other monitor that's just 1080 that I have as my second monitor setup that I just have because having a second monitor is really nice. That's 1080 and that's running off the HDMI cord. You meet the minimum requirements. Yes, it's gonna run a very solid 720 FPS, 720p, 30 FPS. W Capcom. Very very cool Capcom. Oh, he's got 8. Oh. Oh, he's got a buddy. It's the buddy system. Okay, let's see how we can play with the buddy system. R1, 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 R1. Okay. Didn't work. Alright, where's your buddy? Did he run all the way back? Either he ran all the way back or he's all the way at the start. Or he ran past me. Yeah, he's just past me. He's probably go straight to the boss at this point. Oh. Invading here is fun. It is, but then it's also like really hard to navigate and find out where people are if you're not like if you don't see them. Like, truth be told, he could be anywhere. I couldn't tell. You could not. I couldn't tell. It's actually the abyss. Well, it wasn't at the start. That's too bad. 1080 60 FPS. Now that's good. You know, 1080 60 FPS is all you need. I mean, 4K is nice. Okay, I won't lie. 4K is nice. It's, you know, it's definitely not a meme. Like, I'm thinking though that like 120 FPS is a meme. Because I'm be honest, I can't really tell the difference that much between 120 and 60 FPS. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I really can't tell the difference between 120 and 60 FPS. That being said though, my wife's phone is 90 and I kind of can tell the difference. So maybe I can, but like it has to be like really in motion. Or maybe it has to be like an OLED screen. If you play on 120 a long time, you can probably tell. Yeah, probably. Okay, this guy really is like hiding, I guess. I'm gonna go check the one other place he might be in. I don't know. Well, it looks like Cammy's gonna play Resident Evil Requiem 9. Requiem 9. You know, we're back to bringing video game titles with a title in it. Thorf. Thief 4. Thorf. Oh, I hear him. Yeah, he's right where I thought he would be. Uh, he, I'm guessing he fell. And died to me. I didn't even do nothing. Like, okay, maybe if like I play between 60 and 120 enough, I could probably tell. But like, I played a Fortnite a little bit on like 300 hertz or 300 frames. Oh, look, it's that guy. It's the same guy again. I played it on like what, like 200 or so frames. And like, yeah, I kind of could tell the difference between the two. But like, uh, it's like, you know, like, like kind of. But what's crazy is that I see some people talk about. I saw this one thread on Twitter about how there's like, the new Battlefield 6 update made it so like he went from like 300 frames to like 240. I was like, okay, buddy, I think. And the craziest thing was he wasn't rage baiting. He wasn't engagement baiting. He was serious about how like he could tell the difference between 240 and 300. 240 between and 600. The world of no one. No name. He died. He just went off the cliff. I've been indicted. Kaylee, do you have Deus Ex? I might as well just gift you Deus Ex because it's $1. I don't care. If you have Deus Ex, I'll. If you don't have Deus Ex, I will gift it to you. You know. Wait a minute. This is the guy I invaded earlier, right? Staying invaded here. Oh no, he's probably all the way over there. You do have it. You have it on GOG. Okay. Yeah, it's $1. I don't know how I played it originally. When I played it in 2010, I might have gotten it through questionable means because of something. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't own it on Steam or on GOG. So I'm trying to think about how I played it 15 years ago. Trying to think what was I playing and how was I playing it? But yeah, I might as well play it. I might as well buy it because why not? It's $1, right? Is $1. I buy that for $1. Where is this guy? You pretty sure Santa visited my Steam account? Santa, gift me Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Santa, I wish it was Claire Obscure Expedition 33 because I don't know. I can't spend $40 on that. I can't in good faith spend $40 on that game, right? $40. What did Santa gift me? Santa gifted me Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5, that's a classic. I haven't played that game since the PS3 era. I have it on my PS4. But now I have it on PC. I think that's the only Resident Evil game I have on PC. Well, that's cool. Thank you. I guess we'll have to play Resident Evil 5 and then we can be like, wow, this game sure is something. It's a product of its time. When we go to the tribal village in chapter 3, we'll be like, wow, this sure was of the time. Yep. Meanwhile, I was what, like, how old was I when 5 came out? I was like 15, 16, 15, I don't know. I was like, my 15-year-old self was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Resident Evil 5 is the best game ever. Resident Evil 5 is the greatest game ever. And then my friend and I would play it all the time. We probably played that game like 4 or 5 times. But I never played the DLC. Because, I don't know. I was weird back then. I must have had some sort of disability because I was really not for getting my parents to buy me DLC for games unless I really, really wanted the DLC. Okay, I think I dated someone that I can't actually fight because the fog wall's right there. Expedition 33 is trash. They're calling it the Jacob Geller of RPGs. They're calling it RPGs for Jacob Geller. They're calling Expedition 33 Persona 5 for 30-year-olds. Yeah. They're calling Expedition 33 the 33-year-old Persona 5. The Persona 5 for 35-year-olds. Damn. I know his ass is laughing. I know the host is laughing at what just happened. Feet Lady is the only good thing about that game. Yeah, the French sure are different. The French sure are different. Same way the Japanese sure are different. When we play Resident Evil 5 and then we get to the village, the tribal village, and be like, wow, Japanese people sure are different. Alright, but yeah, we can play Resident Evil 5 I guess next year. Or hell, maybe we can do it this year. You know, there's still 2 weeks left. Two and a half weeks left of the year. I guess we could maybe make some time to play it. You know, it's like what, like a 8-9 hour game. Probably doing like 2 or 3 streams. Do you think they'll remake 5? Hell yes, of course they will. But they're not gonna remake it first. I think they're gonna remake Code Veronica first. Okay. I can't believe I invaded somebody here. This only because of this mod am I able to ever invade somebody in the hallway in before Stampede Demon. The rumor is Code Veronica and Zero are in development, and Code Veronica will be first. Yeah, I think that's probably it. You know, I watched Boulder Punch's a video on remakes, and he brought up a point about how the only way to play Code Veronica, to purchase it right now, is off the PlayStation Store. The only way, and which is funny because I actually looked it up. It's on sale right now for like $5-6, I think. That's and it's normally $15. It's normally $15. So the only way to legally buy and play Code Veronica right now, out of the box, officially from Capcom, is off the PlayStation Store, which is unfortunate. I think it's the same way for Dino Crisis, right? Or wait, did GOG get Dino Crisis? But his whole thing, his video was basically, which, you know, I'm beginning to realize Boulder Punch, he is a pro at repeating the same thing over and over again. He loves to repeat the same thing he said earlier in the video again, because he mentioned about how there's a large demographic of people who, if you can't buy a game off Steam, it might as well not exist. And yeah, like, you know, Code Veronica, only way to buy Code Veronica right now is off the store. He actually made a mistake though. He said that in the video you can't, but then he corrected himself in the comments. You can buy it physical in Japan for PS5. Oh, okay. Well, still, that's in Japan though. That's like a very small part of the world, of the demographic. You know, that's cool though, but like, again, that's only a small part. You can buy on the Xbox Store too, for real? Let me look this up. Can you buy Code Veronica on the Xbox Store? Oh, look, you can. Yeah, I guess you can. For $20. Way too much, Capcom. That's way too much. Way too much, Capcom. Come on, no ways buying Cold Rock over $20. Not on sale. On the PlayStation Store, you can buy it for $5. Why is it $15 on the PlayStation Store? That Microsoft tax. See, this is why Microsoft is going. This is why Microsoft has stopped trying. This is why people have stopped trying for Microsoft. What do you mean? The three. Okay, again. This died. It's the 360 remaster version, which they released via backwards compatibility, where the PlayStation version is the PS2 version, if you recall correctly. I need to watch Avalanche Reviews. I know he has a Avalanche Reviews is a real one. He's a real nerd because he has videos showcasing every single version of Resident Evil games. I've watched some of his videos where he compares every single Resident Evil game version. Like I watched it on 4, like how or N1. He made a video about like 4, pretty much everyone, but like every part of his videos, he has a part where like he describes the different versions of the same game, and like he talks about how pretty much every time there is a game that came out of the GameCube, so I guess just 0, 1, and 4, he talks about how the GameCube is always like the best version, about how it has really cool dithering, about how the GameCube has like vertical dithering that was unique to it at the time. It's because like okay, they remastered version for 360 and PS3, but you can't play the PS3 version. But they still have the OG and PlayStation Classics, basically. Yeah, that's right. I'm pretty sure if we watched Avalanche Reviews version video on Code Veronica, he would tell us about every single version of Code Veronica. Let's watch that. Let's go beat this game real fast, and then we can watch. Or you know what? Let's just watch the video right now. Pull it up on YouTube. Jamie, pull that up. Jamie, pull that up. Pull up Resident Evil Code Veronica. Every version of Code Veronica. Let's find out. Let's find out which version of Code Veronica is the best version. I have no idea where this guy is, honestly. I hope I made the right pick. I did. Poised. Oh, I got indicted. He was mad about that one. Alright. Jamie, pull that up. Alright. We're gonna find out what's the best version of Resident Evil Code Veronica. I know the homie Avalanche Reviews is gonna tell us. Yes, here we go. Every port of Code Veronica retrospective.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I may have a confession to make. I am obsessed with
Dreamcast or
Resident
GameCube,
Evil. Now, I'm not
probably
quite sure that
GameCube.
needs to be
He
said, as
always
most of you
he always
watching
likes
this
the
likely
GameCube
found me through my
versions.
coverage of that series or games inspired by it. But what some of you may not know is I have an equally unhealthy obsession with the differences that can crop up when porting a game to multiple systems. I really couldn't tell you why, but I've just always really enjoyed finding those small details that might have been altered during the porting process or differences you'll see in video when jumping from one system to the next. And in that same vein, I have always thought Resident Evil Code Veronica is a criminally unappreciated entry in the dynasty that is the RE franchise, so I figured why not head pop 2 zombies with one shotgun blast. Today I'm looking to dig deep into the many versions of this lesser loved entry and find out exactly how they differ and, if possible, figure out which one is most deserving of your time. So after an uncomfortably long absence, it feels great to say once again, what's up guys, I'm Jared from Avalanche Reviews. Welcome to the Resident Evil Retrospective.
Retrospective. He always says that. He always goes retrospective. See, you can tell Avalanche Reviews, he's a real nerd. Because only real nerds care about stuff like this. Every single port of one video game.
It is
Of like a franchise.
almost time, you genetically inferior siblings.
Resident Evil Code Veronica is a bit of a black sheep in the classic survival horror entries of the series, but at least a portion of the audience fell in love with Claire Redfield's return to the series. It should probably go without saying, but I've already covered this title pretty extensively in a past video in my Resident Evil retrospective, but just to catch some of the newbies up, Code Veronica sees Claire from RE2 setting out to find her brother. After being a particularly annoying thorn in Umbrella's side, she is eventually captured and taken to an island training facility that I guess they were also using as a holding cell for people that needed to be gotten rid of. During her stay, there was some kind of an attack on the island, and the T-virus seems to have been purposefully spread, causing even further chaos. After realizing the place was doomed, one of her jailers let Claire out of her cell, and the first leg of the game is spent attempting to escape this hellhole with a friend she met along the way, Steve. A person who's so Canadian, and this is true, the whole of Canada agrees he's taking it a bit too far.
Sorry about that little misunderstanding.
Sorry.
I thought you were another one of those monsters.
Shut up.
The two eventually unravel the history of Umbrella's creation and the family behind it. Sitting at the head of that family is a guy who, in the absence of his twin sister, sort of lost his mind and has been essentially cosplaying her until he can see her again. The rest of the game turns in a few
PS2
unexpected
is a little
directions,
blurry
including
because
the
of
reveal
PS2
that Chris is
specific
no longer
anti-aliasing
missing
effects,
and is
but with
actively
VGA
retracing Claire's
out,
steps,
Dreamcast is
culminating
the
in what
sharpest
I would call a
version.
pretty damn enjoyable time.
Alright, let's skip
Sadly,
ahead.
there's a lot of you watching right now who
Right, look.
Cast
Okay, here we go.
much easier experience here, but we're not exactly running a tips and tricks channel, so why not jump into the stuff you all came here to see in the first place?
Yes, we didn't need the brief overview. We did not come here for the brief overview. Yeah, it's either gonna be Dreamcast or GameCube. Those are probably gonna be his best way to play.
As some of you may have noticed, we started with the original Dreamcast release of Code Veronica, and as all of you may have noticed, it looks absolutely amazing. There's no doubt the Dreamcast was a pretty impressive little piece of hardware, but if you ask me, this was the best looking game in its library, at least as far as convincingly realistic graphics go. As is common knowledge at this point, before this release, Resident Evil was well known for its pre-rendered backgrounds and static camera angles. But Code Veronica introduced a slight evolution to those approaches with fully rendered 3D environments, which in turn allowed for a camera that was still static in placement, but could track Claire in certain areas. These two elements put together, at the time, always struck me as the natural direction the series would grow in as it kept getting bigger, and yes, I'm still a little pissed off that didn't come true. With 3D environments comes lighting that can be both cast on your character and the background, and this stuff really blew me away at the time. Of course, looking at Claire holding a lighter and seeing it not only light her realistically, but the room around her
I'm
isn't
pretty
gonna
sure
impress
you watched
anyone
this video,
today, but
probably.
we hadn't seen anything even nearing this in the series up to this point. Next up on my long list of stuff I love about this game's presentation is the incredibly detailed zombie models. Not only are all the gory little details I want on full display here, but there's also a huge variety of individual zombies to boot. Sadly, a headshot from a shotgun no longer decapitates them, and to be honest, I've always wondered if this was a move meant to save on processing power, or a lazy way to make sure they didn't need to make any changes in the game in order to fit a decent Sero rating in Japan. Character models and cutscenes are an absolute treat, with lots of details being present and some very impressive facial animations for the time. Now sure, it's not the best I've seen, but it's most definitely the best I've seen on the Dreamcast. The inventory still uses 2D sprites for its icons, and I still absolutely love that. You also get to see a nice variety of locations, with each one containing a lot of environmental details and a very lived-in kind of feel. All around, this is just an incredible looking game, but more than that, it truly feels like the RE series really jumping into the next generation of gaming hardware, which was certainly a treat at the time, but is even more impressive looking back retroactively today. Seeing as the next time we would see a generational jump like this in the main series, it would be for a game that plays like RE about as much as a session of Bubble Bobble does. What you're looking at right now is being provided by
Jared hates RE4. He hates RE4. He hates 4.
Cheap retrobit VGA cable, which is outputting a surprisingly clean 480p image to my OSSC that simply line doubles that to an integer scale of 960p. For the longest time, I've been using a JP21 cable for my Dreamcast because I thought I needed to spend an arm and a leg to get a clean signal out of the console, but it is clear I was dead wrong. If you look at them side by side, the difference between the JP21 cable's 480i and the
Whoa, that's actually crazy. Look at the difference. The VGA cable is actually like way higher resolution.
VGA cable's 480p is about as clear can possibly get. Sadly, all of that amazing quality does come with a downside though. At this point in console hardware, dithering was just a fact of life, and almost every major console used this little trick to save on performance at least some of the time. And if you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, dithering is this checkerboard type pattern you can see in the background here. This was essentially a workaround that allowed a console to have a lot of colors on screen without having to render a smooth gradient between each shade. And you know it worked really well if this is the first time you're seeing it. Typically, the combination of a CRT display and a composite video connection blurred the image enough to mask a lot of dithering on most consoles, so I apologize if I just lifted the veil for you. Personally, I love the way a dithered picture looks on an old console, but I know that's not a universal opinion, so keep that in mind if you're looking to play Code Veronica at higher resolutions on real Dreamcast hardware. Other than that, though, I really can't see any problems with this game graphically speaking. Not only does it look incredible to my eye, but it also looks better than just about anything the Dreamcast had to offer at the time. It took the bright, popping colors the console was known for and combined them into a Resident Evil game, which should be a combination that spells disaster. But somehow, it worked out just perfectly. If you ask me, the console this game was made for is a huge contributing factor to its unique look, and even as the series will continue on bigger and better hardware,
the hardware it was made for looks the best.
Entries in the franchise. So I guess the only question left is what
Same
happens
thing
when
for
you take that
RE4
unique display and try to
or
cram it into
RE1
a console.
You know, the GameCube's the best looking version.
Wait a second. What just happened?
Oh god, he's so Canadian, man. He's so Canadian.
I despise.
Oh, this is the version I played. I played the PS2 version.
With the re-release of Code Veronica on different platforms, Capcom elected to do something you really don't see too much anymore. They added some stuff. The games released with the Code Veronica X title have had additions that alter the gameplay to a degree that, honestly, it's sort of hard to argue whether or not they're improvements. First off, the short title screen intro has been altered so that Wesker's reveal doesn't get ruined, which I guess is okay. I mean, the fact that old Blondie was in the game was plastered all over game magazines of the day, so I'm not too sure who they're trying to protect from spoilers here. In addition, there have been extra Wesker scenes added to the game, which sort of undoes the point of messing with the original intro in my opinion. In the new scene just before Alfred starts the island self-destruct sequence, Wesker shows up, and my only real issue with that is the original scene where he first shows
Backtracking is the main criticism of the game, but that's not a bug, it's a feature, IMO. Yeah, I mean, survival horror games are always about, like, backtracking. There's, you know, That's kind of like the main part of the game.
Shows up in the original release of the game did a good job of
That's a
obscuring
core
his face and sort
loop
keeping
of the
you guessing.
gameplay.
Where in CVX he just sort of shows up to accomplish nothing much at all, and the best part is that original scene with his
So those Wesker scenes were in the Dreamcast version, I guess. Oh,
face
that's-
obscured is still in the game during
guess
Chris's
so.
campaign. So now you'll meet Wesker, and then an hour later watch a cutscene that tries its hardest to make sure you don't know Wesker's in the game, which is, I don't know, kind of funny, really, when you think about it. Getting into the comparisons, I would say the PS2 has a pretty bad showing, actually. Man, what is it with Capcom and screwing up PS2 ports? So starting out, I was immediately hit with this very nasty ghosting when the game is in motion. Here, let me slow things down so YouTube's compression can't mess it up. Hopefully you can see the issue I'm talking about here. It's that shadow of Claire
Oh.
that's visible in every other frame. It looks to me like interpolation, something that shouldn't be necessary. I mean, I've got to assume the PS2 is powerful enough to run this game at full speed, so why would they implement something like this?
It probably
I
isn't.
can't really
Or they
imagine
don't care.
someone would think this was a good stylistic choice, so I tried looking it up on Google, but it seems like no one's noticed this, except for this guy here, but after reading his thread, most people seem to be blaming his TV. Now, I know what some
Wait, what
here,
was
but-
it saying? No ghosting until I played Code Veronica X on my PS2.
After reading his thread, most people seem to be blaming his TV. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, and no, this was not caused by my scaler. Both the FrameMeister and OSSC display the same issue, and I can confirm it does still exist at native 480i over component. Honestly, I would have loved to have solved this mystery, but I think it's going to have to stay just that for now.
It's just
In the
gonna have to
meantime,
stay
let's all
a
collectively
quirk
try
of
and
the
figure out
PS2
why some
version.
text has artifacts at the edges of its boundaries. If I had to take a shot in the dark, I might guess that this has something to do with the fact that the Dreamcast outputs a sort of non-standard width for its video output, and maybe taking sprite sheets from one console to another ended up doing this somehow. In the Dreamcast original, I noticed that getting the perfect downward knife angle was sort of hard since the D-pad on the old DC controller could be so loose that it would register diagonals, and here on the PS2 I did not have that issue. So there is one win under its belt, but immediately negating this is the drastically darker picture. I mean, we're talking pretty damn dark, and adjusting brightness both in-game and on my FrameMeister yields even worse results, with the whole picture going gray. That shows me that it's probably something inherent to this.
Oh, wow,
version
you
of
can
the
really
game,
tell
not
watching
settings
this.
on my end in any
I'm
way.
watching this
Continuing with those
at
problems, the
1440p.
CG
There's some
cutscenes on the
serious
PS2
ghosting
were
going on.
Very dirty looking.
Very
There
good.
might be a chance that the dithering on the Dreamcast helped smooth over some of the compression artifacts, but I can say without a doubt that the DC original takes the win as far as CGs go. Now, this next little tidbit used to bother the hell out of me back in the day. In these CVX ports, Capcom decided to give Steve a solid amount of emo bangs, and when I first played this version of the game, I just couldn't understand why they'd do that. In my own personal
That's the
opinion,
Steve
he
I
looked
know,
much
with the
better
emo
with
bangs.
hard Leon Kennedy style side part, but what would drive a development team to waste man hours on something like this? Well, while browsing some random forum years and years ago, I stumbled across this idea that they were worried the actor Leonardo DiCaprio would sue them for taking his likeness, and it seems like a majority of the internet agrees on this one. That being said, I really can't see why Capcom would have thought that. I mean, he isn't exactly the spitting image of Leo, and I think his annoying Canadian mannerisms probably make him at least legally different from the actor. Now, this being a PS2 release, Code Veronica X
I
is
believe
locked
it.
to 480i
I
video
believe it.
output, or
Capcom
at
would
least
do
it
something
used to
like
be.
that.
More on that in a sec. As you may or may not know, interlaced video can be a pain in the ass to work with on digital displays, so instead of relying on the OSSC shaky Bob deinterlacing method, I went with a FrameMeister to get this footage, because adaptive deinterlacing just looks so much better to me.
Oh, yo, Swoosh, thanks for the raid. What's up, Raiders? We're watching a YouTube video about which is the best version of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Has anyone played Code Veronica? That's what we're watching this YouTube video. What's up, K? What's up, Monkey Jin? We're watching a YouTube video about what is the best version of Code Veronica. You played Fortnite? Hell yeah, Fortnite. I was playing Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite. I haven't played Fortnite in like over a week. I'm still low on the. I still have to get more on the battle pass. Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'll follow all y'all. I'll follow all of y'all. But yes, we're really close. We were playing Dark Souls Remastered with the warrior class, and we beat every single boss except Gwyn. So, and then we were talking about how the new Resident Evil 9 came out, and then we were also talking about how like every version is different, and that Cammy's favorite Resident Evil is Code Veronica. So we were just watching this video because I know this one guy, his name's Avalanche Reviews, and he does these videos where like he will compare every single version of a port of a game, like mostly horror games, but he's like done one for Code Veronica. So far, I've played this game once on the PS2. When's Dark Souls 3 again? Last time I played Dark Souls 3 was with Return to Lothric in June. I was actually thinking of playing Dark Souls 3 again though recently. Alright, peace. Thanks, Sharkbait. But yeah, we're trying to see what is the best version of Code Veronica. Because the reason why I brought up Code Veronica was about how there's remakes everywhere. Every game is getting a remake. I saw this YouTube video about remakes. And in this guy's video, he mentioned about how Code Veronica, really, the only way you can buy Code Veronica right now is off the PlayStation Store. And I guess also the Xbox Store. But, like, you can't buy it on PC. And for a lot of people, it might as well not exist. You know? You got a lot of the Painted World in Ring City. Yeah, that's definitely where a lot of the PvP is, right? And then before that, I was playing in I think April. April. That was a little time before, but I was thinking about playing Dark Souls 3 again soon. But yeah, thanks for the raid. Swoosh. Hope you had a good one. Probably will play all. I need to reinstall Elden Ring on my PS5. My PS5. What? Play Elden Ring. I need to get it. So I've been playing a lot of Night Rain, but I'll probably play Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring again soonish. Because we're about to finish Dark Souls 1. I just have to fight Gwyn. But we're kind of taking a break from that. But yeah, so far, apparently the PS2 version of Code Veronica sucks. It sucks.
Of course, one of the downsides with going this route is you'll probably notice combing artifacts in the footage at random spots where the scaler couldn't keep up with the fast movements in the game, which are these horizontal lines breaking up the image on stuff moving on screen. Adding on
the
to that,
PS2
a
version
static
always
interlaced
sucks.
image can look very sharp.
That's kind of what I found. The PS2 version of any game was always like the worst.
FrameMeister, but once it starts moving around, you'll notice it blurs a little bit. And the other downside being, the FrameMeister can introduce a lot of visual noise on certain colors and patterns. Sadly, most of those colors being on the darker end of the spectrum, and this being a very dark game. So if you're going to play CVX on PS2 and you're debating on how to do it, I wouldn't go with the FrameMeister as a first choice. That is, unless you're dumb enough to run a YouTube channel with the goal of comparing ports, and you don't want this bouncy, jumbled mess that Bob deinterlacing can cause.
PS2 is the weakest.
I know I just painted a pretty poor picture of this port, and to be
like the Resident Evil 4 version. I don't know if anyone's played the Resident Evil 4, the original Resident Evil 4 on PS2. That was the worst version. That version is actually really bad when you compare it to like the GameCube version or even the Wii version. Like the PS2 version of Resident Evil 4 is so bad. There's so many like sacrifices that they made to make a lower quality production.
To be honest, it scored really low on my side of things, but keep in mind these kind of issues can be very prevalent to my eye, but if the comments section has taught me anything, it's that most people don't even see this stuff. If you're planning on playing this on a CRT, you likely aren't going to have a clear enough picture for most of these flaws to even present themselves in the first place. but there is something you can do to really improve your visual experience with this version of the game. A while back, you guys may remember me covering a utility called GSM, which was a piece of homebrew that runs on PS2s using custom firmware and can force progressive scan video output. Back when I covered it, GSM was a little hit or miss. Depending on the game, you could get really good looking results or this nasty mess of alias stair-stepping. Well, it seems like that may not be the case anymore, and a massive thanks to El Mariachi for cluing me in on this. The newish 1.0 release of OpenPS2 Loader has a version with GSM baked in, and it works amazingly from what I can tell. I tried somewhere near 18 or 19 different titles, and only one of them seemed to result in absolute garbage on screen, so we could definitely call that a win. Selecting the HDTV 60 option from the insane list of image modes has the PS2 either performing the
Yeah, washed out color. That was the thing. Like, PS2 could do like more polygons, but at the end of the day, I think resolution really matters. And PS2 ports really lacked color. Like back to Resident Evil 4 port. The Resident Evil 4 port on PS2 is so much more like washed out. Like that's just one of the things the PS2 version of Resident Evil 4 is really bad about. Like it has a really washed out color. It just looks way more gray and like just like it's not good.
Interlacing internally,
Not good.
or some kind of other magic is going on.
PS2
the result
games
is a
definitely were
great-looking
washed out.
progressive scan image. The difference may be a little hard to notice on the surface, but the resulting image is much cleaner and far nicer to look at.
Now, when I played it when I was 12, I had no idea. I had no idea that it was actually so bad. But like, as an adult and seeing the differences, it's really noticeable.
With the game outputting clean 480p just like the good Lord intended, we could switch over to the OSSC and further clean things up. You guys genuinely have no idea how hard I struggled with the idea of recording all of my footage in forced 480p, but luckily my Patreon supporters talked some sense into me. And I think they were right. The goal here is typically to give you guys an idea of how each of these ports look natively so you can decide which one takes home a W in your eyes, but I'm not so dedicated to that idea that I won't throw up a quick comparison for the hell of it. As you can see, sharpness doesn't seem to be noticeably improved from one to the other, but the small
I guess 480p looks a little like they look kind of the same. I mean, the coloring looks a little better on the 480p. It looks less washed out.
details in the face are much cleaner and blend more naturally.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the bonus of not having the image blur a bit when it's in motion thanks to external deinterlacing. So if you ask me, this is a clear win in 480p's favor. Now, this may not be the most accessible solution in the world, but if you have a FreeMcLoop memory card link,
the best way to play the PS2, the inferior version of this game, is to get a modded PS2
laying around and a spare USB drive, get your hands on GSM and experience the game the way the developers likely would have wanted you to. And I think this is as good a time as any to switch over to our next contestant.
Steve, watch out!
Dumb Steve.
Don't worry,
Hate
brother.
that guy.
I will handle them both
The GameCube
myself.
version.
Who is there?
Capcom ported like
The
every
GameCube has quickly
Resident Evil
started
game to
creeping up on my
GameCube.
list of favorite consoles lately, mostly due to a combination of the GCHD Mark II and a nice little utility called Swiss that lets me
Steve, watch
force
out.
480p
Right.
in games that don't support it natively. But once again, we're going to err on the side of authenticity and use the default and only video mode Code Veronica X shipped with. The first bit of good news is the ugly frame interpolated ghosting isn't present here, which leads to a much smoother looking image in motion. The dark picture on the PS2 was a real issue for me, and while the GameCube version isn't a massive improvement, you can now see small details through the darkness, so I'll go ahead and chalk that one up as a win. That being said, there is a massively noticeable difference in sharpness between the PS2's 480i and the GameCube's
Actually, the PS2 one kind of looks better in this one.
480i. At first I had to go back and recapture my comparisons thinking I had the sharpness cranked on the FrameMeister for the PS2 playthrough, but nope, there's just a massive divide between the two. Whether because of this little quirk or in spite of it, I'm happy to report that the CG cutscenes look much better on the Cube with those ugly compression artifacts getting smoothed over for this release. And other than that, I really didn't notice much that would set this release apart from the PS2 version, at least as far as native video output goes. Just like the PS2, the GameCube has its own way of forcing progressive scan. Using the homebrew software called Swiss and some kind of SD card launcher, you can force 480p on GameCube games that never supported it in the past, and once again, I really couldn't tell you if this is forcing the GameCube to actually double the lines of resolution, or if it's just deinterlacing it internally. But holy hell, the difference is so noticeable. With a PS2, you sort of had to look close to really see the benefits of 480i versus 480p, but on the GameCube it is night and day, not only in sharpness but also in sheer clarity. This game becomes so much more satisfying to look at in progressive scan, and if at all possible, I'd fully recommend you go this route for your next playthrough. Since we switched to 480p, we're now line doubling with the OSSC, which means a much cleaner picture with less video noise. And call me a traitor, but I'm starting to use the Meister less and less since I got my hands on an OSSC. And yes, I did say that quietly so that it didn't hear me. I will say one thing though, the GameCube without a doubt has the most comfortable default button mapping of all of the versions. The original DC release has the menu on the B button, which just feels wrong to me, and the PS2 port has me reaching all the way to the start button anytime I want to use an herb. On the GameCube's controller, the inventory is mapped to Y, which is about as close to the action and cancel buttons as you can get, which leads to a much more satisfying press during gameplay.
What's the best button prompt for the inventory?
Not the whole
Start button's not good anymore.
story though. The other half
Start
of the
button's
controller
not bad.
kind of negates this little gain. And I think little is definitely the word to emphasize here. With every release of CV so far, the D-pad has been the go-to, but as some of you may know, Nintendo saw fit to make their D-pad on the GameCube just a little smaller than the smallest conceivable thing on Earth. So you're either left with that or the analog stick, and sure, the analog stick on a GameCube controller can be great for a lot of scenarios, but tank controls most certainly is not one of them. So I switched back and forth. I'd use the D-pad for situations where I had to do some quick and accurate
Why is
zombie
the best thing
dodging
you can
and
switch
to
the
the analog
Dreamcast
stick when my
version to
thumb
use
started
that?
to cramp up from the D-pad.
So
Moving from
that's
the
like
Dreamcast
triangle?
to the PS2 saw the game fitting on a single DVD instead of two GD-ROMs on the DC, but the GameCube's adorable little mini DVDs need to be split up again. Now that's not exactly an issue or anything, it's just something I
All
thought was
the
worth
Resident Evils
mentioning.
use triangle and Y.
If you
Interesting.
absolutely have to make a decision between the GameCube and PS2 releases, well, let's just say I don't envy you. These two ports of the game seem to cancel each other out with their unique flaws and interesting upsides. If it weren't for the D-pad and analog situation, I would say the Cube offers the best controller layout, and if the PS2 didn't have such a smeary, blurry ghosting issue, I'd say it clearly takes the win as far as stock video output is concerned. To be totally honest, between the three available versions of the game, I'm gonna have to go with... I bet you thought I was gonna end it there, didn't you? Listen, you guys don't come here for half-assed port comparisons. The patented Avalanche Reviews method is to
Now
dig
he's gonna
deeper
talk
than
about the
anyone wants
remasters.
and give you guys information you most certainly will never use. And in that vein, did you know there's a PS4 release of Code Veronica X?
My apologies, but I cannot let
No,
you
I
escape
think the
now.
PS4 version is like the one that's fucked up. Or like,
You see? This thing is a lot more reliable than any
I know one of
person.
the versions like changes up.
To be
The
totally honest, I had all but forgot about
graphics.
this PSN release until it came time to work on this video, which is a real shame because I'd say this could be a top performer on this list. Emphasis on the could be. It seems pretty clear to me that they used the PS2 port as a base for this up conversion because we're seeing the same odd artifacts and certain sprites again, which really does bother me. I mean, was there really nothing that could be done about this? Capcom did go in and replace some text like in the save screen, so why not replace the stuff that was messed up in the first place? But getting back on track, this version of Code Veronica does look stunning to my eye, and it really should. These PS2 era games always look amazing when upscaled for HD releases because they have just enough on-screen polygons to ensure more can be added while still maintaining the integrity of the original picture, whereas something like a PS1 game might require approximation and a whole lot of other work. Since we're working with a pure digital video output method this time around, there's absolutely no noise in the image, which can be jarring for someone like myself who mostly works with analog video being upscaled after the fact, but all of that should be obvious and expected for a PS4 release. What really surprised me though are the improvements they made over the original PS2 release during this process.
What did they
First off,
do?
the brightness and gamma have been nearly perfected this time around. For those of you with short-term memory issues, the PS2 version of Code Veronica had me squinting into the foggy black of what should be a clearly visible
Oh
background
yeah,
a
he
lot
said
of
the
the time.
PS2
But
version
here on
was
the
really
PS4,
like
I'd say
washed
things look
out.
perfect to my eye. Of
And
course,
dark,
some of the more
too dark.
foggy areas present in the Dreamcast original will still be represented here, but unlike on the PS2, we can actually see through it now, which is pretty nice. The very odd issue
It
with
looks pretty
ghosting
good.
that I noticed before is still present in this release.
Oh,
but
no,
it's
the
to a much
ghosting.
lesser degree.
The
At first, I thought
ghosting.
it had been totally fixed, but you'll
Call
still
the
notice it in
paranormal
certain
hunters, the ghost
conditions.
hunters.
And while I would definitely love to complain about that, it is nice that they showed at least some effort to
It's
fix
back!
it. Of course, I would have preferred seeing it gone completely, but when the on-screen picture looks this good, a very small problem like that can be a little easier to forgive. On that same note, it seems like the CG cutscenes have been noticeably cleaned up. They do appear pixelated to an expectable degree, but with a lot less of the noise and color banding that showed up in the original PS2 version. In my opinion, this is the preferred plan of attack for upscales like this, as adding a bunch of filters to a CG cutscene to make it look quote-unquote HD can sometimes make it look worse and subtracts from the original sharpness of the picture. But I think we can save a lot of time here by just describing Code Veronica X on the PS4 as a very visually clean package. Not only do we no longer have to worry about the PS2's famously
looks pretty
noisy
good.
video output, but on top of that, improvements have been made to make sure the original look of the game meshes well with the cleaner
No,
nature of
I
HD
thought there was a
video.
version
The
that
only
the
real
game that just
massive
like looks
downside I
way
can list
different.
here is the fact that the picture is being stretched to such a noticeable degree, and I'm not really sure
Oh.
why that's happening because they're still using enough
Look at this. Look, it's actually really stretched out. It's actually like really stretched out. Like Claire's literally like double.
on widescreen picture. Now, to be totally honest, I doubt 99.9% of people would notice this unless they have an eye for these things or recently played the original, but it seems like such a dumb issue to have in such a simple up conversion. I guess it could be worse though. For example, this could be the PAL region release, which only supports 50 Hz. Honestly, why do you guys in Europe take this from Sony? 50 Hz in the modern era is tantamount to a crime against humanity in my
50
opinion.
hertz.
If I were to give this release a grade, I'd
Big
say it's
clear.
a pretty middle-of-the-road HD up conversion, adding literally nothing of note other than rock-solid improvements.
I know,
to
right?
video
Why?
output and
That
fixing
seems
three
so
issues that were
strange
present in
that
the
they
source
just
material.
stretched
As a
it all
port of
out.
the original, I'd say it's probably the one to reach for if you're looking to play Code Veronica nowadays.
And apparently, it's the only version you can get. I guess the Xbox version too, not for. But yeah, that's it. Like that's the only. If you want to buy and play Code Veronica right now, it's the PS4 or Xbox Store version, which is kind of fucked up.
But some of you may have noticed I
unfortunate.
made sure to make the distinction of this being a port, because while they did certainly improve a few aspects, this is most certainly just a re-release of the PS2 original being internally upscaled by the PS4. So I guess the real question is, where does a guy go when he's looking to play CV but with a brand new coat of HD paint applied to the experience?
Oh, look, this is where he's gonna mention this HD version, I think, right? I knew there was an HD version of this game that apparently ruins the look.
Thanks, but I can take.
Yes, it was the
PS.
PS3
The
version.
Resident Evil Code Veronica HD Remaster can be a very, very annoying game to
This
look
is-
up
this is what
since
he's-
across the
this was what I was
PS2,
thinking of.
3, and 4, each of these releases are simply called Code Veronica X. It seems like fans have taken to adding an HD at the end of the PS3 remaster when talking about it online, but when searching the PlayStation Network, it can be hard to know which one is the HD remaster and which one is the regular old normal upscale, unless you go in already knowing the answer to that question. It really wouldn't have taken any effort at all for Capcom to have gotten together and decided on a naming scheme that would clear this up, but oh well. Before we talk about the game itself, though, we should probably discuss why this counts as an HD remaster and why the PS4 re-release doesn't, despite the fact that both technically run at an HD resolution. Code Veronica X on the PS4, while running at a much more HD resolution than the PS3 version and sort of being remastered in a few ways, isn't an HD remaster because a majority of the game is made up of the original assets, just upscaled internally. While on the other hand, Code Veronica HD on the PS3 has had a lot of work done to replace some of those original assets with ones that have been externally upscaled or even totally new ones.
Okay,
And to
so
be
the
honest, it
PS3
could have been
one, they
so
actually
much
changed.
better. This one's going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs, so get ready. First up, thanks to the 3D nature of CV's environments, it was relatively easy for them to give us a 16:9 widescreen aspect ratio this time around, which is actually cool as hell to see.
An actual
Every screen
16:9.
of the game houses just a little more detail on each side that can be really fun to look at,
Which
kinda
is
like
not
you're
just
seeing
clear,
it from a whole new
wider.
angle. Also, all over the place, you'll see fonts replaced with newer, more
This is the same- the
HD-looking
360
stuff,
one
and
is this
normally
one.
I'd rather look at the original 2D text upscaled, but this doesn't look bad at all to my eye. Because a lot of the 2D art has been smoothed over instead of having a more alias look, the new text kind of blends in and doesn't stand out as much as it can in other similar HD remasters. I was actually really stoked to see the pre-rendered cutscenes have been cleaned up considerably since they were awful to look at in the PS2 release, but for some reason I can't really place, there's intermittent frame drops during these scenes.
Not frame
Sometimes
drops.
they can be hard to spot, and sometimes they're blatant as hell. For example, watch this scene from the Dreamcast original.
KD 4496. Welcome to your new home.
And now the same scene from the PS3 remaster.
WKD 4496. Welcome to your
Oh my
new
god, it
home.
is the frame rate is lowered.
I genuinely can't figure out why this is taking place. I mean, it would be one thing if they messed up changing the frame rate or something, but the cutscenes here play out at the same number of frames per second they always have. And keeping up with the trend of showing an improvement followed
did
by
look
how
worse
that
on the
improvement
PS3
was messed
version.
up in the process, the game's original dynamic light sources seem to have been replaced with some more modern, impressive looking stuff, giving us much more realistic shadow casting. These new light sources often come with varying levels of bloom, and I guess that's okay if you get into that kind of stuff. I do like the addition of new, more flashy light sources.
I'm a bloom enjoyer. I like bloom.
I just don't think the bloom effect was totally necessary.
I like
That
bloom in a
being
game.
said, some of the areas aren't as bright with the new light sources, which can leave certain screens much darker than before, and sometimes way too dark. It seems like whoever did this remaster didn't think aliasing
The colors look a little oversaturated. They do. I was thinking the same thing.
should exist in
Like
HD
the colors
mode,
look
so
a
they applied
little
smoothing filter over the entire screen,
really
which does get rid of
saturated.
some of the jaggies, but also lessens the overall sharpness of the picture. I swear to God, while playing this game, I had to fight the urge to rub my eyes as if my vision was getting blurred and not the screen that was in front of me. On the purely negative side of things, in the spirit of giving it a fake HDR sort of look, CV on the PS3 has its contrast knob cranked to 11, and
Yeah.
as a result, it can be very harsh or
It's-
garish to look at.
the
If I'm being
contrast is
honest,
very
there are some
noticeable.
areas where this effect can actually add to the scene, but mostly I found the game too dark to call this a
Like if you took this exact same scene from the Dreamcast version, you would be able to tell right away. It looks
win
way
overall.
different.
And since game devs of the era seem to have been under the impression that looking at their games with clean, unaltered visuals was some kind of sin, we see the early 2000s worst trend rear its ugly little head here: bad screen-obscuring static filters. Because if there's one thing that isn't ironic as all hell, it's upgrading from analog video to digital and then adding a bunch of visual noise that makes it look like analog video anyways. Well done, guys. To be honest though, this filter might not have been such an issue for me if it didn't pair terribly with the new high contrast look the game has. Now, not only is the picture soft to an annoying degree, but it's also covered by a static effect that is most predominant in
I don't think you guys can tell the static effect, but I can kind of see it in this video. There is definitely like a little bit of a static effect going
high
on.
contrast shades, meaning most of the game. Honestly, I'm sort of struggling with this one. The widescreen picture and cleaned up CG cutscenes have me really wanting to recommend this release of the game, but there are way too many flaws that give me the suspicion the person in charge of this remaster just didn't know a lot about the
It's like
pleasing
film grain,
relationship
yeah.
between colors and brightness values. This was definitely an older
They were like, Resident Evil's so cool, but you know what's also cool? The film grain from Silent Hill. Put that in. Put that in. That's the one thing Silent Hill did good. It's film grain. Put that in.
release, but even back then I don't think people equated HD visuals to a more staticky screen with a darker picture, which really does
You know, The Last of Us 2 has a film grain that's in the game. I turned that thing off immediately. I turned that off. Film grain does not work for like 90% of games. Silent Hill is like the only game where I would actually play with film grain on.
suck because there are situations where this game can look pretty okay. I always enjoy a proper widescreen conversion of a 4x3 game from my past, and while this was definitely the best handled aspect of this release, almost every other visual feature of the game seems to faceplant immediately out the door.
For the pride of the Ashford family, I will kill you.
So I guess now is the time to make a decision. Which version of Code Veronica is the one to reach for in the modern era? And that is a very, very hard question
Dreamcast,
to answer.
obviously.
Each release has something I like in it, and
He
each
didn't
one
mention
also
the
shows off
360
quirks
version,
of its
the
respective
Xbox
console's
Store
video
version,
output,
which
I always enjoy looking at.
I'm guessing since it was $20, it probably was the PS3, like Cammy said, it was the
But
PS3
if you
version.
force me to decide, I would have to go with the Dreamcast original. For some reason, to me, Code Veronica has always felt like a real product of the console it was developed for, and finally getting to see the game run at a crystal
I knew
clear,
it.
beautiful 480p really made an
Called it.
impression on me. The game's lighting
Well, what a surprise. The best looking version of the game was the version it was originally developed on.
and shadow effects
Well,
just
real-
look like
real
they're at home
surp-
on
real
the original
shocking.
console it was released for. And if you have a DC VGA cable and either a TV that accepts that connection or a scaler like the OSSC, I would say that is without a doubt the way to go. Sure, you are going to miss out on the changes made in the Code Veronica X releases, but I don't feel like 2 extra scenes with Wesker in them are worth much at all in the grand scheme of things. Jesus, I am not looking forward to the comments I'm going to get asking me why I hate Wesker so much. Just to be clear, I don't. I just choose good visuals over that stuff. The only caveat I would give is the Dreamcast's heavy use of dithering, which despite being a look I've always enjoyed, some people may find it hard to deal with.
I like dithering. I'm a dithering enjoyer.
If that is indeed the case for you and you absolutely have to grab a version of CVX, I would say go with the one that fits your means and equipment. In my opinion, the PS2 version is the way to go if you lack the ability to force progressives.
Alright, so what we said. Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube, PS4 with the comically large-sized Claire, where she's literally stretched out. She's literally 2 Claires stacked on top of each other. Or the PS3 one. Yeah, the PS3 actually, they did really just completely change the visuals for the PS3 version, which I guess is also the Xbox version. Well, you know what? The PS2 version looks better if you use the hacks than the GameCube version. So basically, the Dreamcast is the best one, but if you use a modded PS2, the PS2 is the better version.
The PS2 has the sharpest 480i output, but if you can run homebrew on either console, the GameCube is the clear winner in terms of 480p. But do keep in mind you're going to need something like original Nintendo component cables, the Carby or GCHD to get that kind of video.
Yeah, and then you have to use the hack GameCube version to get the better look on that one.
As more modern ports go, I would go for the PS4 digital release over the PS3 remaster if I were you. While that PS4 version does still contain a lot of the flaws found in the PS2 release, most of them have been mitigated to a degree that it shouldn't.
It's the only version you can buy.
Cause huge issues.
I mean, I guess you could get a PS3 and get an account, but navigating the PS3 store is so crazy.
One beyond the ultra picky, like myself. The widescreen picture and improvements made to the 2D assets might have made the PS3 remaster the clear winner here if it weren't covered up by a laundry list of flaws about as long as my arm. So if you are looking to enjoy Code Veronica, in my opinion, keeping it within its home console would be the best bet. You really can't beat the beautiful visuals of this game running on real Dreamcast hardware. It really is the best look the game has ever had, in my opinion, on top of the control layout making the most sense to my brain. So I guess after all the literal hours spent playing this game in every single way humanly imaginable, my opinion remains exactly as it was 4 years ago when the Resident Evil retrospective was still being released. Onwards and upwards, right? But what's more important than my subjective take on what's the best looking and playing version of the game to date is that I was able to show you guys each of them running on real hardware so you can get an idea of which one you would prefer. Which I guess is the main question here. My decision aside, which version would you guys go with? I'd be interested to hear your reasoning in the comments section. And I think that's as good a time as any to get out of here. I hope you guys have had fun revisiting what I think is an absolute hidden gem in the Resident Evil series, and I really do appreciate all of the love and positivity you always send my way. But as usual, I will see all of you again right here on the Resident Evil Retrospective.
I always likes how he says that stuff. Alright, well that was every single version of Resident Evil. Every port, but not really because he didn't include the Xbox version. So he's taking an L on that one. Alright, let's finish this game.
sorry, fool. You
We. Alright. A Lord Souls. He's right behind me, isn't he? Alright. Let's do it. Oh no. Missed every parry. Did he just hit the Black Knight? He did. Oh no. Okay, we got it. You. Harry him. Harry. Alright, that was the Wanderer. Wanda, her.
My lord, bless thy safe return. Let Karth and Framt serve your highness. We are here to serve your highness. Let true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
I become the Dark Lord. I am the Dark Lord. That's me. Alright, cool. I'm the Dark Lord.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Alright, well, this is one of those few times where actually I can, actually just not kill a silent demon. It's not too often I can do that. Most of the times I have to, at least like kill Asylum Demon. It's kind of funny though that you can, like, pretty much every playthrough I've done, you can just get it as soon as you enter Lord Drain. You don't. Most of the stuff I've been using hasn't been like gate kept, you know. Like a lot of stuff you can just get without having to, you know, fight some bosses. So that's kind of nice. Boom. Insane damage. Alright. We'll just go Firelink. Ooh, another leather shield. And then, ooh, a second scimitar. Ooh. We'll just go Firelink and then we'll end it. And then, I don't know. Cammy, we definitely gotta play. You know what? Let's get one Resident Evil 5 playthrough before the end of the year. You know. Oh, just one shot in. Well, let's get one playthrough of 5 before the end of the year. I think that'd be cool. Yeah. Like I can schedule, I can make way and play for at least like 4 hours, maybe close to 5. Those Wanderer.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Alright. Exit out of the game. Alright, yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, we can definitely play. We'll try to play 5. Let's try to play 5 before the end of the year, at least once. Probably around this time. I'll make way for my schedule and play for at least 4 hours, maybe 5. And yeah, we at least probably get through like the first 2 chapters, get to like chapter 3. But yeah, that was Resident Evil. That was Dark Souls. Next time I play something that's not this, I don't know. Maybe in a couple of days. It might be a couple of days before the next stream. Might be a couple of days. But yeah, that'd be cool. I'll definitely download Resident Evil 5. We'll play it. Cammy, watch out for Cammy. I mean, Cammy, I was able to get Cammy to play Kane and Lynch too. That's like one of my favorite games. And one of my favorite games, and you know, I was able to get them to co-op and play that, so now they are going to get me to play Resident Evil 5. Ooh. So that'd be cool. Anyway, thanks Swoosh for the raid. Y'all have a good one. Peace.